Greetings aspirants, welcome to Narayana IAS. This is Karthik Moni. I'm here for daily news analysis. In today's session, we have picked up 6 articles. The first article is about India-UK relation, and second article is about the recent AI summit, and third article is related to digital public good and then digital public infrastructure, and then we will be discussing the article related to the search and seizure, and then finally we'll be having two prelims topics related to electric battery and then the Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar Award. Coming to the first article, we are going to discuss an article related to India and UK relationship. Exam point of view, we can expect question related to India-UK 2030 roadmap, and also we can expect question related to India-UK free trade agreement and also bilateral investment treaty. Conceptual point of view, we can expect question related to rules of origin. So this is possible. We are discussing this article because we already had a question in 2017 related to broad-based trade and investment agreement that was held between India and European Union. So we are expecting similar question in this topic as well. So that's why we are discussing this article. Coming to the context part, recently the External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, who currently visited UK, to meet his counterpart David Cameron to discuss the free trade agreement related provisions. And also they discussed other ongoing global issues such as Israel-Hamas conflict and also both the nations' aspirations on Indo-Pacific region. And also we are expecting that UK team will come to India for the 14th round of negotiations to conclude the free trade agreement. So in this article, we have to know about the background, about the discussions on UK and India free trade agreement, and also we have to know about the bilateral investment treaty, and finally we will be discussing why is it significant for India and then for the UK, right? Background: India and UK launched comprehensive strategic partnership in 2021 along with India-UK roadmap. So in this strategic partnership, it had underlined 5 priority areas. First one is connecting our countries and people. So in that they want to establish institutional mechanism for enhancing the bilateral relationship. Then for the trade and prosperity, and then they wanted to deepen the defense and security agreements, and then they want to enhance cooperation between India and UK for climate and health related aspects. So the current negotiation, that is free trade agreement and bilateral investment treaty, is basically from the aspiration of this comprehensive strategic partnership to create to enhance India as well as UK's trade partnership. So this is the background about this free trade agreement. So now we have India-UK free trade agreements. So both the countries started negotiations during January 2022. The aim is to significantly enhance the bilateral trading partnership. They want to increase the volume of trade between both the nations. Currently, the value is 36 billion pound. So they want to increase the number even more. So both the nations want to increase the bilateral trade relationship. So for that, we need an agreement. For that, we are negotiating the free trade agreements. So how we are going to do? So this is the strategy. So by eliminating or reducing the barriers, for example, we'll reduce the custom duty or even remove the custom duty for the goods. So that is there. And by creating the favorable environment. So here, for the investment point of view, the entry and exit will be happening in a smooth manner. So we'll create an environment in such a way that the business between both the nations will become easy. So that's the second strategy. And finally, will increase the trade by protecting the intellectual property rights. So this is about the agreements. And now we have to know about the aspirations of India and then aspirations of UK. So first, Indian point of view, India wanted to have a greater access in the European market for its skilled resources because it is a competitive advantage for India, especially in the sectors like IT and healthcare. So we want greater access to our skilled resources, especially in the sectors like information and technology and health sector. And apart from that, we are looking for zero custom duty for some of the goods. For example, pharma goods, where India is a strong dominant player in the global arena, and also we are demanding such provisions for agriculture, right? So these are the aspirations from the India side. So from the UK side, they wanted to significantly reduce the import duties of goods such as Scotch whisky, automobiles, meat, chocolate, and certain confectionery items. And apart from that, India is looking for greater integration, investment opportunities in the areas of telecommunication, legal, and as well as financial services. So these are the aspirations from the UK sides. So here both the nations trying to propose the competitive advantages of that particular country. So these are the aspirations between UK and India. So next we have to know about the challenges. From the Indian side, there are three concerns. First thing regarding rules of origin. There is a possibility that the third nation can dump its goods through this free trade agreement. So in order to avoid this, India wants strong rules of origin provisions. So that is there. So that's a first challenge. And second thing related to the digital regulation. So here, India is looking for strong regulation in terms of free and trusted cross-border data flow and also data localization requirements and also transfer requirements. So it is not only for the India-UK relationship, the global level, India is looking for such a strong regulations in terms of digital aspects. And finally, we are also facing problem in order to bring consensus in terms of intellectual property rights on generic medicines. That is also there. And apart from that, from the UK point, the UK is looking for greater access in sectors like telecommunication and financial sector. So that can create the problem in the domestic sector. The competition without much regulation will affect the domestic industries. That is also there. And finally, duty concessions on specific goods such as whiskey, automobiles, and medical devices is also an area of concern. Next, bilateral investment treaty. We also negotiating for the separate agreements in order to promote and also protect the investments in each other's country. In this agreement also, we have few challenges. For example, the agreement on dispute resolution mechanism, right? So India proposed to first utilize the all local judicial remedies for settlements before initiating the international arbitration. So this is the challenging provision. Now we have to know about why is it significant for both the nations. From the Indian side, trade expansion. Apart from the trade expansion, this has to be looked from the perspective of trade diversification also, right? So currently we are doing like 36 billion Britain pounds, like the value of the bilateral trade is about 36 billion pounds. So now by having this free trade agreement, India can also increase the value of bilateral trade between the nations. So how we are going to do? By increasing the access. By increasing the India's access to favorable goods such as pharma, and agriculture. So that's the first aspiration. Second thing, in terms of investment opportunities. So this agreement will increase the investments. The agreement between India and UK will bring more investments to India. So because of this, like we can increase the domestic capacities of India in terms of manufacturing service sector. And this will result in increasing the job opportunities. employment generation is possible. And third dimension, technology and skill transfer is possible. Especially the defense and security aspect, we committed under roadmap 2030. So technology transfer in the strategic areas is possible, and also skill transfer is also possible. For example, India. So India, we have a skilled resources of IT professionals. So we will be having the possibility to have a greater access to market in UK for the IT professionals. That is also possible. For the UK point, so it can be seen as a post-Brexit trade diversification. So after Brexit, UK is looking for the viable economic partners to diversify its trade. So India is one of the largest market, and also India is known for its skilled resources. So for those two reasons, it is important for the UK, and apart from that, new business opportunities for the UK based companies are also possible, because both the nations are also deliberating to have a collaboration on service sector as well. And also, beyond the economical point of view, strategic point of view also it is important, because we committed for the defense as well as climate related discussions also. So in this aspect, it significantly improve the strategic relationship between both the nation. That is important for UK. Not only for UK, it is also important for India as well. Coming to the next article, we have the economy of the world without work. So in this, the author discussed about the perspectives of John Keynes and the Karl Marx perspective on world without work. And also, he introduced the idea of the Bletchley Park Summit on artificial intelligence. So we are not going to discuss the perspectives of both the thinkers. We are going to discuss from the prelims point of view, that is AI Safety Summit, Bletchley Declaration, and also will be discussing the India's stance on AI regulation, India's approaches on AI regulation. So moving to the context, recently the Artificial Intelligence Safety Summit 2023 was held at Bletchley Park at England. The objective of this summit to have the deliberations to tackle the challenges posed by the artificial intelligence technologies. So this is the context. So we have to know about the details about the summit and also the declaration. So these are the facts related to the summit. It is the first ever global summit on AI to discuss the safety and regulations of artificial intelligence. Coming to the outcome, 28 countries including United States, China and India and the European Union issued an agreement known as Bletchley Declaration. So Bletchley Declaration highlighted the need for high-level political consensus and commitment. And apart from that, it is also highlight the need for international commitment and also collaborative approach to tackle this problem. So here, collaborative approach means like we need the participation of academicians, business entities. So international commitment and collaboration from every other stakeholders are very much important. It was highlighted in this declaration. And it also acknowledged the potential of AI to enhance the human well-being, and it also announces the establishment of regular AI safety summit. So it institutionalized the mechanism of having summit regularly. So these are the provisions mostly discussed in the declaration. And also we came to know that so next year the France is going to conduct this summit, and in between South Korea is going to create a virtual mini summit regarding the artificial intelligence regulation. So next, India stand. India advocated two approaches. So user harm approach and risk-based approach. Two approaches. One and then two. So in the user harm approach, it wanted to prioritize the users to prevent them from potential negative impacts. For example, if you take the example of facial recognition technology, so AI based technology, there is a possibility of privacy concerns is also there. There is a possibility of and bias and discrimination is also there. So in the digital era, data is wealth. So privacy concern is always there. So this is what we call it as user harm approach. And then second one is risk based approach. India don't want the generalized regulation. Instead of this uniform regulation across all application, India needs tailored regulatory measures to specific risk posed by the AI technologies of different sectors. This is what we meant by the word risk-based approach. So India is advocating these two approaches. Next, we have to know about the need for global regulation. So first thing is that the global nature of technology. Second, to ensure consistency. Then to address the bias and discrimination and to ensure the fairness. Then to protect the technology from the cyber threat. And then to protect from data protection and the privacy aspects. And next, from the perspective of ensuring human autonomy. And finally, to promote level playing field. Yes, global nature of technology is there. So we know that artificial intelligence as a technology and internet transcends the national boundaries. It doesn't comes under one jurisdiction. It comes and it plays across the border. So in order to address this challenge, we need global regulation. And second thing, to ensure the consistency. Why we need consistency? If consistency is not there, there is a possibility of having fragmented regulations. In order to avoid such fragmented regulations, we need such a global standards. So by having such a global standards, we can ensure interoperability. So in this aspect, it will help the business entities to access different AI technologies across the globe. So that is possible. And also, to address the bias and ensure fairness, there is a possibility that the technology can perpetuate such discrimination. That is possible. So in order to ensure inclusivity and to ensure equality, we need global standards. And apart from that, in order to protect from cyber threats, we need global uniform standards, because this technology is vulnerable to attack, and in order to have a quick response, we need such consistent uniform standards. So that is there. And apart from that, in order to ensure the or in order to safeguard the individual's rights, we need global standards. And finally, in terms of human autonomy, we need to ensure the technology to work under human. Yes, the artificial intelligence is having the capacity to go beyond the human autonomy. So there is a possibility. In order to ensure or in order to avoid such situation, we need global standards. And finally, to promote the level playing field, we need global standards. Why we need the level playing field? So already we have a digital divide between the nations. Developed nations are pro in this aspect. Digitally, they are wealthy. The data wise, they are wealthy. So already we have a digital divide. So creating such the global standards or uniform standards will reduce such digital divides between developed and developing nations. Next, we have an article, A Norwegian Perspective of India's Digital Journey. So this article is taken from Hindu editorial. Exam point of view, we can expect question related to the concept, the digital public good, and also we can expect question related to digital public infrastructure. Apart from that, we can also expect prelims question regarding G20, that India's proposal regarding this digital public good and infrastructure through G20, that is also possible. And also we can expect question from 50 in 5 campaign. So moving to the context part, India made a digital public good and digital public infrastructure more tangible. So it is accessible to most of the citizens across the geography. And also, India played a key role in getting consensus from all G20 countries to agree to have a framework for system of digital public infrastructure. So this is the context of this article. So moving to the concept part, we have to know about what is meant by digital public good and what is meant by digital public infrastructure. So first we have digital public good. It is nothing but the benefits and services which we are getting through the digital systems. The objective of this digital public good is to drive development, to bring inclusion, innovation, and to bring trust and competition, and also to respect the human rights and fundamental freedoms. So services which we are getting from the digital platforms is what we call it as digital public good. Whereas digital public infrastructure is nothing but the system itself. It is a digital network or a platform through which the services which we are getting now, this is what we call it as digital public infrastructure. It enables safety and efficiency to deliver the economical opportunities and social services to all residents. So this is the comprehensive definition of digital public good and digital public infrastructure. So now we have to know about the examples. So we have Aadhaar and UPI platform, Uniform Payment Interface created by NPCI, and also we have Swayam portal, which is one of the world's largest massive open online course platform. So these are some of the examples of public infrastructure, digital public infrastructure, and through which we are delivering the digital public goods such as education, and also we are giving health related services, and also we are giving financial services to the citizens. So now we have to know about New Delhi Declaration of G20 Framework for System Digital Public Infrastructure. So it is a voluntary framework, so to develop, deploy and govern the digital public infrastructure. So India wants to create a framework to deploy, develop and regulate this digital public infrastructure. So for that, India proposed a framework. So that is the first idea. So here India also proposed to have a global digital public infrastructure repository. So in which every country have to come forward to give its digital public infrastructure for the global use. So for that, India wanted to create a repository. So this is the second proposal. And finally, India also wanted to create One Future Alliance. So its aim is to build capacity and provide technical assistance and funding support for implementing digital public infrastructure in low and middle income countries. So technical support and then financial support to low and middle income countries. So this is the idea of One Future Alliance. So three proposals under the framework. The first, the general idea is to have a voluntary framework or suggestions to have a proper guidelines for development, deployment and governance of such digital public infrastructure. Then we have proposal on repository, and also we have an proposal for having an alliance to support low and middle income countries. So next we have 50 in 1 campaign. It is an awareness creation measure. So our advocacy campaign, it was done in collaboration with Digital Public Goods Alliance and United Nations Development Program. The objective of this initiative or campaign is to get pledge to make at least one national digital goods available globally in the next 5 years. That's why it is mentioned about 5. So if you are contributing one digital public infrastructure for the global use, then in the next 5 years, each country can contribute 5 DPIs. So it is an awareness campaign for the countries to come forward to use their resources for the global good. So this is about 550 in 5 campaign. So next, we have to know about the issues. Yes, it is important and it is having the implicit advantage for the development of the community, but still there are problems. The first thing is the problem of digital literacy. Especially in the low and middle income countries and developing countries, there is a possibility that the existence of huge digital divide will reduce the efficiency of using such digital public infrastructure. Yes, we have already have the structures, but if I am not able to use it, if I didn't know how to use this infrastructure, then it will not be beneficial for me. So that is there. So the problem of or lack of digital literacy regarding this DPI, so that is the first challenge. Second, the problem of privacy concerns. Yes, nowadays data or personal data profiling is happening, and state and non-state actor companies also collecting huge data from the individuals, and this can end into privacy concerns. So usage of such data without consent can create problem. So it leads to data breach. So this is the second problem. Third thing is that the data leakage, the problem of data leakage. Currently, we face the problem that the India's Aadhaar was breached by non-state actor. So such leakage is also possible. So this will create access to such personal data to the non-state actor. This will create problem, and that is the third dimension. And finally, data sovereignty will also be an issue. So currently, there is a huge divide between developed and developing nations. So the existing undue advantage from the developed nations can be used to get more access to the data from the developing nations. How? Currently, we don't have a standard regulations regarding data flow and also data localization. We don't have a standard uniform global regulations. This can lead to the problem of data colonialism by the developed nations. Thus, it affects the sovereignty of the particular country, of the developing nations. So this is also another problem that we have to consider. Coming to the next article, we have search and seizure from Hindu editorial. So this article has to be viewed from the perspective of freedom of press and right to livelihood and also right to privacy. From the syllabus point of view, it comes under the aspects of governance, transparency and accountability. So moving to the context part, recently the Supreme Court directed the union governments to frame the guidelines to protect the interest of the media professionals with regards to the seizure of their digital devices. So this direction came as a result of recent arrest of NewsClick media agency founder and the HR head. So this is the context. The court found that there is a problem of search and seizure activity by the government agency. So here it is highlighting that there is a problem in ensuring the freedom of press. So this is reflected in the index. India ranked 161 among 180 countries in press freedom index, and it scored only 36. And look at the number in 2022, it scored 150, but this year it is even poor, 161. So we are facing the problem of the intrusion into the freedom of press. So now we have to know the rights that are curtailed because of this search and seizure activity. First thing is freedom of speech and expression under Article 19(1)(a). Yes, there is a possibility. So if they are having fear, then they won't come up with their opinion. So that is the problem. So freedom of speech and expression will be curtailed. Right to livelihood is also curtailed. So this is protected under Article 19(1)(g). So having such seizure activity or search activity, there is a possibility that it can affect their livelihood options. So that is also there. And right to privacy under Article 21 will also be affected. So apart from that, under Article 21, the right to fair procedure, which can be inferred from right to life with dignity, can also be affected, because we don't have any clear-cut guidelines on this search and seizure activity. So apart from that, under Press Council of India Act 1978, the section 13 demanded that it prohibited the police from searching any premises occupied by journalists and newspaper establishment without warrant. So this search and seizure activity, fundamental rights as well as the legal rights. So both the fundamental rights as well as legal rights are getting affected here. So now we have to know that why there is a need for codification. So this is important. So first thing, to protect the press freedom, because our performance is very low, that is 161 in the press freedom index. So in order to protect the freedom of press, we need such codification. Why? So in order to make governments accountable, press freedom is important. Yes, how they'll be doing? So they'll keep their citizens informed so that they'll create checks and balances. In this aspect, the media will ensure the accountability of the government. Second, in safeguarding the privacy and source protection, we need codification. So exclusively, this is important from the perspective of whistleblowing. So unless and until the source protection is there, we can't expect the whistleblowing. So that will significantly affect the accountability of the government institutions. And also, in order to prevent the misuse and abuse of power. So media is the fifth pillar of the democracy. So proper functioning of the media is very much important. So there is a possibility that government agencies can be used to curtail the dissent. So in order to prevent from such misuse and abuse of power, we need codification. And also, in order to bring trust among the government. Mere bringing codification itself will bring trust among the citizens on government. So that is possible. So in fostering the trust, we need codification. So next, we have to know about what are the things which we have to consider while creating such guidelines. The first aspect is minimalism. See, search and seizure can be allowed only at the very few instances, and that too, clear purpose has to be dealt, and also it should have the compelling public interest as a reason. Otherwise, it should not be allowed. And for that also, we need judicial oversight to protect the media freedom and privacy rights. And also, we have to reduce the scope. The scope has to be reduced. For example, we have to strictly limit it to the relevant devices, relevant data, and also we have to minimize the intrusion. We should not allow them to intervene into the personal and professional spheres. Only that the data and devices that are relevant to the particular case should be linked. In this aspect, we are reducing the scope of seizure activity. And also, privacy aspect we have to take care. So confidential information has to be protected. So only when there is a compelling reasons to reveal that confidentiality, then only we have to reveal. So this also has to keep it minimal. And also, there should be a provision to return the device. So devices should be promptly returned to prevent the unauthorized access or use. And apart from that, the media person should not be forced to incriminate themselves or their sources by being compelled to provide passcode or biometric data should not be there. And also, we have to safeguard the device from the leakages, and also we have to prevent those devices from tampering by the third party, and if the data is irrelevant, then those data has to be deleted in a timely manner. And finally, we have to create a record of the device. This is very important, creating the record of the device. Why? Because there is a possibility that incriminating material can be planted during the investigation process. So creating a record of the device is very important to prevent such implementing or incriminating material to be planted during investigation. So these are the areas which we have to consider while forming the guidelines. So now we have to discuss about the landmark cases related to the press freedom. So first one is Romesh Thapar versus State of India. It established the fundamental right to freedom of press in India. So that is there. And we have Bennett Coleman versus Union of India 1971. It limited the government's ability to restrict the press freedom in the name of national security. And after that, we also have Times of India versus Union of India 1989. It restricted the government's power to limit the circulation of newspaper unless there is a clear and present danger of public order and national security. And also, we have Pradeep Mathur versus Union of India 2009. In this case, it protected the journalist's right to source confidentiality, requiring the government to demonstrate the compelling public interest before disclosure. So these are the landmark judgments. These are some of the judicial interventions to ensure the freedom of press. Next, we have an article related to the electric battery. So in this article, the author discussed about the evolution of the battery, and also he discussed about the lithium-ion battery, hydrogen fuel cell, and then National Green Hydrogen Mission. And he related this to the hydrogen, that is fuel cell battery. So here, exam point of view, we have to know about the mechanisms. So that is important. And also apart from that, we have to know about advantages and the disadvantages we have. So first we have lithium-ion battery. So it is a rechargeable battery and it uses lithium ion to store the energy. So we have graphite as anode and lithium metal oxide as cathode. And apart from that, we are having lithium salt as an electrolyte. Coming to the functioning, so during charging, the lithium ions move from cathode to anode. So this is cathode, so this is anode. So lithium ions will travel from cathode to anode. So this will be the case. So while discharging, the opposite will be the case. That is, the lithium ions move from anode to cathode. So during charging, so lithium moves from cathode to anode, whereas during discharging, it will move on the other direction. So from anode to cathode. And also we have to know that the movement of lithium ion will create the flow of electrons through an external circuit which generate electricity. So this is the functioning of the lithium ion battery. That is, movement of lithium ion on one side, consequently the electron will move on the other side, will create electricity. Coming to the advantages, so it is known for high energy density, which means it can store lot of energy when compared to the weight and size. So relatively smaller in weight and smaller in size, it can store more energy. This is what we are calling it as high energy density. And apart from that, the self-discharging rate is also comparatively low, which means when if it is kept idle, the loss of power will be comparatively low. And apart from that, the lifespan is also long and also maintenance is also comparatively low. So these are the advantages, but it also have its own disadvantages. For example, in terms of cost, it is more expensive when compared to the other alternatives, and also we are also having a safety concerns. There is a possibility of fire hazard related to this battery. So next we have hydrogen fuel cells. So it is an electrochemical device that converts chemical energy of hydrogen and oxygen into electrical. So here it is not rechargeable in nature. So that we have to know as a difference between lithium ion battery and the hydrogen cell. So it is not rechargeable. So working mechanism, hydrogen is fed into the anode. Yes, this is anode. Hydrogen has to be fed in, and on the other side in the cathode will be adding the air to get oxygen. So here in the anode there will be a split in protons and electrons will be happening in the presence of catalyst, and the proton pass through the electrolyte to the cathode. So it will be passing. So on the other hand, the electron will flow on the external circuit, will lead to the creation of electricity. So the proton and electron combine with the oxygen to form water. So the output is also clean in nature. The emission will be getting only the water. So it is a clean energy that we have to know. So when it comes to the advantages, yes, it is clean. Water is the byproduct. That is the first idea. And then it is efficient, that it can convert its 50% of the chemical energy into electricity, and it is very quiet so that it is well suited for cities. So this is important, and also it is scalable in nature. Yes, small portable size is also possible, and large power plant is also possible. But it is also having its own disadvantage, that's expensive, and also hydrogen production infrastructure, we have to spend cost and energy. So that is there. So this is the second problem. So hydrogen production, storage and distribution. So we have to create the hydrogen supply chain in order to reap these benefits. So preconditions has to be met to reap this benefit. And finally, it is not primary energy source. So that is the problem. It has to be produced by other energies. So in order to produce the hydrogen itself, we need energy. So that is little difficult. So for that, in order to overcome this problem, the government proposed a mission called National Green Hydrogen Mission. Under this mission, the government approved 7,044 crores for the production of hydrogen. And apart from that, we have to know about the types of hydrogen. So we are having 4 types: green hydrogen, grey hydrogen, and then blue hydrogen, and also brown hydrogen. So we have to know about the raw material, and then we have to know about the process, right? So in the green hydrogen, produced by the electrolysis. So electrolysis is the process, and then they are using water as the raw material. Here it is named green because they are using renewable energy sources such as solar and wind for this electrolysis process. So process is electrolysis, the raw material is water, the energy source in order to create or in order to produce hydrogen, we are using renewable energy. So that's why we are naming it as green hydrogen. Second, we have the grey hydrogen. Here we are using the process called stream methane reforming. So in that stream and methane, so we are heating both the stream and methane together with the catalyst for the production of hydrogen. So here, apart from hydrogen, we'll also be getting carbon dioxide. So this is the problem. So it is not clean in nature. So it is emitting carbon dioxide. That's why it is named, we are naming it as grey, right? And apart from that, we have blue hydrogen. It is similar to the grey hydrogen. So only difference is that we are capturing the carbon. The carbon capturing is happening, and because of this, emission is not happening. So in this aspect, we are naming it as blue hydrogen. And finally, we are having brown hydrogen. So it is produced by the process called gasification. In this, we are using coal as a raw material. Here also there is a problem that we are facing the emission of carbon monoxide. Coming to the last article, we have Rashtriya Vigyan Purashkar Award. So this topic can be expected in the prelims examination. So moving to the context, recently in September 2022, the Ministry of Science and Technology discontinued nearly 300 existing science awards and exempted only the Shwanti Sarup Badnakar Award, and also it came up with a new award name, Rashtriya Vigyan Purashkar. So coming to the Rashtriya Vigyan Purashkar, the objective is to recognize the notable and inspiring contributions made by the scientist, and not only the scientist, the technologist and the innovators individually or teams in various fields such as science, technology and technology-led innovations. So increase the scope of the award. So they wanted to recognize the contributions and it want to include other dimensions of discovery led by the innovations. And the process of evaluation is that we'll be having high profile RVP committee. It comprises of principal scientific advisor and also secretaries also be there, and also we'll be having the academicians and distinguished scientists and technology related scholars will be there for the selection committee. So we are giving this award on 4 categories. The first one is Vigyan Ratna, and then Vigyan Shri, and then Vigyan Yuva Badnakar Award, and then Vigyan Team Award. The Ratna Award is for lifetime achievements and contributions, and Shri Award is for distinguished contribution in any field of science and technology, and then this Yuva Shanti Swarup Badnakar Award is for encourage young scientists, so below the age of 15. So that is there. And finally, for the team comprises of 3 or more scientists, so who contribute as a team. So these are the 4 areas. And coming to the differences, so the scope, the domain got increased. So 13 scientific domains were included, and also it becomes more inclusive because it included the technologists and innovators apart from the scientists, and also the scientists are from the governments, public sector organizations and individuals working outside any organization also recognized, and expanded the eligibility criteria. So previously we stick to the discovery based research, so we gave award only to the discovery based researchers, but now we are including the technology related innovations and products also. And also previously we were giving the award and we are recognizing only the individual efforts, now we also recognize the team efforts also. And also it ensured the gender representation. The explicit mention of recognizing the gender perspective is also there, and it is open to persons of Indian origin, and then it eliminated the cash prize. This is important, no cash prize is there, and also it gave only the certificates and the medals. So these are the important differences. Domain, the idea in selection criteria, inclusivity, and also in terms of gender perspective, and also included the persons of Indian origin and elimination of cash prize. Now let's try some of the prelims practice question. So consider the following statements about New Delhi Declaration of G20 Framework for System of Digital Public Infrastructure. The statement 1, it is a binding framework. No, it is wrong. It is not binding. It is voluntary suggestion or voluntary framework. So second statement, it asserted that safe, secure, trusted, accountable and inclusive DPI, respectful of human rights, personal data, privacy and individual property rights, can foster resilience and enable service delivery and innovation. Yes, the statement is logical in nature. It follows the framework, and also it is lengthy in nature, So we are concluding this as right, even it seems right. Third statement, it dismissed the India's plan to build and maintain global digital infrastructure repository. No, it approved and accepted this India's proposal. So this statement is also wrong. The first statement is wrong, third statement is wrong. So only second statement is correct. So answer is one only, A. So moving to the second question, consider the following statement regarding lithium ion batteries. These are relatively expensive compared to other battery types, raising the cost of the device. Yes, it is true. These have a low energy density. No, these lithium ion batteries are having high energy densities. When compared to weight and size, it can deliver more energy. So that is what we call it as energy density. So lithium ion battery is known for high energy density. So second statement is wrong. Third statement, it exhibit low self discharge rate. Yes, when we kept it for idle, the power discharge is comparatively low. So third statement is correct. So how many of the above statement given are correct? Option is Bombay. Yes, answer is Bombay. Moving to the third question, consider the following pairs with hydrogen types and their corresponding production methods. So green hydrogen, electrolysis of water using renewable energy. Yes, it is true. Blue hydrogen, steam methane reforming. Yes, using natural gas and steam. This is true. Apart from that, we have to know that it uses the concept of carbon capture. So this is correct. And third statement, brown hydrogen, gasification of coal is there. And fourth statement, steam methane reforming with carbon capture. No, this is wrong because that carbon capture and storage is not there for grey hydrogen. So it is only available for blue hydrogen. So that's why it is named as grey, because the emission will be there. CO2 emission will be there. That's why we are naming it as grey. So three statements are correct, one statement is wrong. So option is C, only three. Yes, answer is C. Coming to the next question, with reference to the Rashtriya Vigyan Purashkar, consider the following statements. It is open to persons of Indian origin. Yes, it is true. It eliminates cash prize. Yes, it is true. The RVP includes set of team award as well. Yes, it is also true. Select the answer from the options given below. So all the three statements are correct. So option is all the above. Option is C. Yes, answer is C. Let's try one mains question as well. Critically examine the legal framework governing media freedom in India. So introduction part, we can start with the significance. Why the press freedom is very important, why it is inevitable for the democracy, we can start with that. So that is the possible idea. And then we have to give the idea of the framework, legal frameworks. So we can tell about the constitutional provisions, and also we can add the statutory provisions such as Press Council Act, and also we can include the judicial pronouncements related to the freedom of press. And also we can quote the existence of independent bodies also. And apart from that, we have to give the reason how far these legislations or these interventions are effective in ensuring the freedom of press. So that is the answer. So in order to make justice to critical examination, we have to bring the efficacy of implementing these legal provisions. So that we have to do. And finally, we have to conclude with the statement that for ensuring the democracy, freedom of press is important. That's the end of our session. Please like, share, comment the video, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you all.